It is, I will start over again. Welcome everybody to the Tuesday, August 31st meeting of Plano West Rotary Club. This is the last day of August, so woo woo. Everybody's flying in, so this is exciting. I'm hoping our Sergeant of Arms will come on, but he is not, so it looks like I'm gonna do brags, which I haven't done in a couple years. So let's start off with somebody local by the name of Benton Hall. Do you have a brag for the day?
Yeah, I had a good Bible study last night with a bunch of high school kids. That's my brag.
Hey, that's brag enough. All right, how about Ms. LaShawn Ross? Do you have anything good to talk about today?
Well, I probably do, but there's just too much for me to figure it all out. So I will just say hello, everybody, and I am tickled to be here and see y'all.
How about that employee badge for a retired woman?
Oh, I didn't realize it was front and center. Yeah.
So I assume you're in Nacogdoches right now.
I bring you all greetings from the great city of Nacogdoches, and I will be visiting the Nacogdoches Rotary Luncheon tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome. This will be your first visiting Rotarian meeting?
Yes, sir.
That's exciting. Awesome.
Yeah.
Steve
I'll let you know
just
how it
arrived.
goes.
Good, Steve. I like a punctual Sergeant of Arms. So I'm going to ask I'm trying to see who's all local that knows what they're doing. Glenn Thornton. I want to alternate between the Zoom and in person. You want to give a brag?
Yeah, so far, all the technology is working here, which is better than last week.
Just give it a minute.
And yeah, just enjoying even the weather starting to warm up, but it's still, for this time of year, is not that bad. Could be worse. So I know Mr. Lawton, as the head of Total Air, is probably wishing for a little hotter temperature so we can make a little.
I'll take it. I'll take what we got today.
All right, I am going to turn over Sergeant of Arms to our illustrious past president and late Sergeant of Arms. He needs to find himself. Steve Lawton, you got about another 3 minutes. So take it away.
All right. Welcome everybody today. I hope you're having a good day. No hurricanes here, so we'll take the weather that we've got and roll with it. So let's see. Hey, Randall Levington, excuse me. Would you like to brag?
Sure, absolutely. I actually just received a letter. My daughter received a letter. She got the official acceptance to the school of her choice, which is KU. So she's going to be a Jayhawk, and I'm going to be a broke Jayhawk dad. So I guess that's my only brag for today.
You know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, having survived my daughter going to college.
Oh,
So,
yes, I'm looking forward to that light.
Yeah. How about John Stafford? Would you like to brag today?
I certainly would. So yesterday we managed to get 2 pallets worth of food out to needy families in the Williams High School neighborhood. And it was a brutal day with the heat doing that. And then last night we managed to get Representative Leach to drop his mask ban from the House, from the bills that are pending in the House. So it will be local choice for all of our school districts. So it was a double good day yesterday.
Well, that's great. Glad to hear it. How about Janelle Barry Cook? Would you like to brag?
You know, my brag is just a one simple, grateful one. My little one does not have COVID. We got called from school and she had to come home, and it seems like that is just the name of the game right now. And we got had to be tested, whole family, and no one has COVID. So that is my brag.
Well, that's a good one, without a doubt. Julie Holman, would you like to brag?
I am looking forward to watching my 8th grade Carpenter Cowboy play his first football game of the season tonight. And I got to see my 10th grader play his first JV game for the Plano Wildcats last week. And that was a lot of fun. They won their game. So looking forward to football season. Hopefully we can all stay healthy and not have to cancel too many games.
Congratulations. This sounds like a lot of fun. Mr. President, it's 12:05.
Hey, thank you very much, Steve. Today, we are kind of shy. Normally, we have about 10 local, 10 in person and 20 live. So who knows what's going on with everybody. But welcome everybody for being here and listening to our U.S. representative tell us what's going on. But to kick this meeting off, I'm going to ask Randall, you're going to lead us in prayer. Take it away, Randall.
Sure. Thank you, Alex. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for yet another opportunity to gather in your presence. We pray for you to continue to bless us with your grace and mercy. We also pray for your watchful guidance and direction as we continue to seek ways to improve our community and this world. It is for these blessings that we pray and give you all the glory. Amen.
Thank you, Randall. Now we're going to ask Tara to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. Thank you, Tara. Okay, now we're doing what everybody's heard me say before, what I consider the most fun part about our meeting. And what is that? We're going to vote and then induct a new member. So over the last couple of weeks, everybody's had a great opportunity to get to know Janelle. Well, today we're going to make that big decision of voting her into Rotary. And it's pretty awesome that she just told us about this great news. Her entire family is COVID-free. And so now we're going to celebrate that by inducting her into Rotary. So we are going to have our Zoom master. He's going to throw up a vote, and everybody online, go ahead and do the vote. And then in person, Glenn will take the votes from the members there.
Alex, I think you might have to do the log. It says you are logged in from another device. Your polling session is inactive. So it might be logged on from your device.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm in charge. I don't get to be in charge that often.
Yeah, I guess so.
We have like all members online, so I should be seeing, oh, all but Julie yet. All right, that is it. Glenn, how are we looking locally?
All good.
All good. So that tells me it is unanimous. Janelle Berry Cook, you have been voted into the Rotary Club of Plano West, and you're part of Rotary International.
That's exciting.
So now that we have voted you, what I need to do is induct you. So at this point, I am just going to talk to you, Janelle. Everybody else is in the audience. And what I do at this point is basically talk you through what it is to be a Rotarian. So Janelle Berry Cook, you have been proposed for membership and the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you into the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you're aware of Rotary's requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international projects. As you know, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you will have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship with fellow Rotarians locally and worldwide. I also commend to you your attention to the object of Rotary in the four-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, such as going to Nacogdoches, you have the special opportunity to attend Rotary meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit of your membership. And now, by the power vested in me as president of the Rotary Club of Plano West, I am virtually pinning on you, you should be able to see the Rotary pin, and declare you to be an active member of this Rotary Club. Welcome to Rotary. We all look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by association in the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Thank you. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thanks so much.
Now, I know you've been in contact with our membership committee. So somebody should be dropping off your membership kit and soon, most likely today. And then they'll also walk through what it's like to be a Rotarian. And then of course you could always ask people questions. So exciting that you're going to be here. And what's pretty cool, you're going to be able to, next week, you're going to vote on somebody you might know. So I hope you vote yes. It's our husband, everybody. So hopefully you don't block him.
And likely we'll be there in person next week. I was hoping to be there this week in person, but we have one we had to keep home because of what I said before. And then we also have a doctor's appointment, which we're debating on keeping or canceling. So thank you.
Well, that's the advantage of being hybrid. We give people the option. So what I'd like to do though, would you just share a little bit with the club? You're a new Rotarian. Tell us about you.
Sure. Where do I start? So I am relatively new to Texas. My family and I moved to Texas in we started moving here in 2018. I moved officially in 2019. My husband and 3 kids moved the year before me, and I traveled back and forth for an entire year, and that was torture. Don't recommend it. We have 3 small kids, all in Plano ISD. We have a first grader and 2 kindergartners. They're twins. And so life at our house is never dull. I can say that. And my husband and I are both own a business together. So he and I, during COVID, we made a decision that we were tired of moving. So we had moved from New York to California and then to Texas. And we, prior to COVID, were gearing up for another family move for work, and decided, you know what, we're kind of tired of that. We have lots of skills and lots of things that we could bring to our own company and then thereby a community. And so we started a company together, wrote a business plan, approached a bunch of Texas-based family offices and secured funding and launched our business near the end of 2020. And we have been on all cylinders since. And so here we are rooted here in Texas. That's our story.
That is awesome. And that's a great story. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in our club. So you're among family in a lot of different ways. Well, now what I'm going to do, everybody knows what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about the foundation. But what I thought I would do is kind of broaden the picture, because a lot of people ask questions. They don't kind of understand what the purpose of Rotary is and how we connect with the Rotary Foundation. So I figured let's spend a little time talking about that. So everybody knows every organization has their operating document is the Constitution. And so for Rotary clubs, we have a Constitution, and it's actually all 35,000 Rotary clubs in the world, we have the same Constitution. The only thing you can change is your name and your address. And part of it, it tells us how we run ourselves as a club. Well, there's a section in there that talks about purposes. And so I often get questions, what's the purpose of a Rotary club? So I figured this will be a great opportunity to say, to kind of explain what is our formal legal purpose. And so everybody, you can look at our Constitution when you go in Club Runner online, so that way you can look as well. But the first purpose is to pursue the object of Rotary. And just to kind of read it, the object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise. In particular, to encourage and foster 1, the development of acquaintances, basically fellowship, and as an opportunity for service. 2, ethical standards in business and professions, recognizing the worthiness of all occupations and dignifying each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. The 3rd is the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. And then 4th, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through the world fellowship of business professional persons united in the ideal of service. Very few people have actually read the object of Rotary, but that is our #1 purpose as a Rotary Club. And everything we do falls within that object. Well, let's look at the second purpose. Carry out successful service projects based on the 5 avenues of service. Well, we rock in service projects. As you know, we completed 75 last year. We won the district award for service, community service. We were highlighted in the Rotary magazine on a 4-page center spread, which has over 500,000 subscribers to it. And what we do when you look at our service projects, Rotary wants us to focus them on what we call the 5 avenues of service. Specifically, if you look under our service project committee chair, there's 5 sections. One is club service. Glenn Thornton's our club service chair. That's doing things to help keep the club running, like technology in person, programs, just a lot of things that we do to keep the ship running. That's club service. Vocational service. Steve Lawton is our vocational service chair. That's talking about our jobs, our occupation, looking for us to use our skills to make society better. Third, community service. Shannon Maudlin's our community service chair. That's where we do our local service projects, and we do a lot. Right now, I think last time I looked, we have at least 7 a month scheduled through December. So a lot of service. Fourth, youth service. Fred Biemendorfer is our youth service chair. He actually has a couple co-chairs with Bruce and Sam, and he has lots of subcommittees. And basically, these are all the different elements of youth services. And the point of youth services, we have these words, but honestly, the point of youth services is to build future Rotarians. You know, when we consider youth as minors. So Rotary, we have a lot of different initiatives targeting kids, and we're trying to instill the heart of Rotary, of service, of integrity. So when they graduate, they become future Rotarians, of which our club has done that well, because we have a lot of recent high school graduates that have joined our club. And so that's the power of youth services. And then final, international service. That's the 5th area of service and exemplifies our global reach. We are in 200 countries, 1.2 million Rotarians, 35,000 clubs, and we work together to solve problems because every club has their local community and we partner with different clubs. So those are the second purpose of Rotary. The first is pursue the object of Rotary. The second is to carry out service projects in 5 areas of avenues of service. The fourth, contribute to the advancement of Rotary by strengthening membership. You guys rock at that. We're the fastest growing club in the United States. We're the 8th largest club in North Texas. We just inducted an amazing new member today. We're inducting 3 new members tomorrow. That's how we strengthen the advancements of Rotary, because we do all these projects. Yes, the community is the majority of our volunteers, but it's led by Rotarians, by you. Like John said, they were at one of the PISD sites delivering meals yesterday. I mean, those were led by Rotarians, and then we bring in the community to help us. So that's why membership is important, because the more Rotarians we have, the more good we can do. And then the fourth purpose, so we've talked, the first purpose is object of Rotary. Second, do service projects. Third, build purpose. The fourth purpose is to support the Rotary Foundation. So that is a purpose of a Rotary Club. And so the Rotary Foundation provides us the funding for our service projects, both locally and globally. And our club needs it for what we do for a lot of our projects. And someone asked me, why do you always talk about the Rotary Foundation? Well, here's a good example. If you ever go to the American Cancer Society, what are they going to talk about? You donating money to their charity. They fundraise for their charity because that's how they do their good works. Well, that's what a Rotary Club's fourth purpose is. We fundraise for our charity, which is the Rotary Foundation, because we're only a 501c4. So we're a service organization as a club. The Rotary Foundation is our 501c3. So we support it so that the foundation can fund all the projects that our club and other clubs are doing all over the world. Then we have the fifth purpose of a Rotary Club: develop leaders beyond the club level. And what that means is they want us to lead in the community, not just in our club. So I just showed you here, these are the different awards our club has won at the district level, meaning North Texas, over the years. This demonstrates that we are developing leaders, not just in our club, but we're leaders from the North Texas point of view. And that are you guys. And so now you wonder why John Huco, I guess it was probably about 7-8 months ago, when John Huco is the global leader of Rotary, of the $100 million service organization with close to 800 employees. When he presented to our club, he said Plano West Rotary is the model Rotary Club. We're an example for all of our Rotary clubs. Keep in mind, he's responsible for 35,000 Rotary clubs. We are the example. Why? Because we are accomplishing the purpose of Rotary, not what individuals want to do. We are doing what a Rotary Club is supposed to do. So you guys should be really proud of that, because we do a lot of good in the community. We've been recognized for it, and we are in line with what our club is supposed to do. And so it just makes me so proud to be part of an amazing club like this. So that's it for my Rotary Foundation moment. And the next part, what I want to talk about is strengthening membership. I'm going to turn it over to Roxana, who's going to do our membership moment. Take it away, Roxana.
Welcome to our membership moment. And so tomorrow is the first day of the month, but we couldn't wait 7 days to congratulate our birthday members. So we're gonna do it a day in advance. And can you see the screen? Hello?
No, can't see
No?
the screen, Roxana.
Oh,
Yeah, you should be able to share that.
No.
Yeah.
smiling face, though.
Now?
There we go.
Oh,
It's
okay.
coming.
Yeah.
Yay, okay.
There we go.
Woo-hoo. No? Yes, okay. So we have Dolly Thomas. Her birthday is gonna come in 2 days. Happy birthday, Dolly. And Christina Todd, her birthday is September 11. Bianca Weimer, September 14. Shannon Modeling, September 21st. And Steve, he's here. Steve, happy birthday, September 25th. To all those September birthdays, people, happy birthday from all Rotary.
Happy birthday, Steve. So you finally hit 40?
Twice.
Ooh, Clint just said twice.
Not quite.
Not even
Okay.
close.
Okay, all
I'm still below 70,
right.
not by much, but still below 68.
All right, Steve. Well, awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Roxana, for our member moment. Now what I'm going to do quickly is club business. Next week, we are going to vote on Michael, Kayla, and Jamie. Everybody has got their information. I hope you are giving them a warm Plano West Rotary welcome. Just so you know, when we induct those three, we will be at 69 members, and we will continue to be a majority female club. I think we're 54% women. We will be 52% person of color. Our median age will be 48. And so we are definitely representing Plano, which is what a Rotary likes Rotary clubs to do. So very exciting. Now, I also want to talk about, as those that haven't been to our meetings, we do a lot of service projects. So we always want to talk about what we accomplished the previous week. So last week we partnered with Plano ISD, and we managed a meal drive-through at Armstrong Middle School. So Catherine Goodwin is our nonstop, hardworking Plano ISD food pantry team leader. And so great job on that. We also did another one yesterday at Rallison Natatorium. For those that didn't know, I actually found this out maybe a couple weeks ago. This is a city pool that's connected to Williams High School. And so I may have been in Plano all these years. I never realized that. Oh, how funny. You know, it was actually one of our trustees that educated me on that. To tell you how stupid I was. So that was the first time we've done that location. For those that don't know, we will be doing Armstrong, Rallison Natatorium, and Bowman Middle School once a month for the rest of the year, or each of them. So all 3 locations once a month for the rest of the year. So sign up for those. We try to get about 10 people per, and the more people, the faster we could do it. For those that don't know, the school district is understaffed. So we are really helping our kids when not only are we helping the families, when we're giving them food, but we're helping the kids because we're allowing these teachers to actually teach and educate and not be out there, dishing food. So it's really important that we continue to do it. We also had our POWS training, Plano Overnight Warming Station training. I heard we had 2 people attend that. Antonio was one of it. So Antonio, you will be one of our first trained volunteers for the Plano Overnight Warming Station. And Julie knows a tiny bit about that because her parents basically run that program. So I'm sure she's appreciative that you've gone through the formal training on that. And we might be doing more of those formal trainings going forward. All right, let's talk about our upcoming projects. These are projects for the month of September. Everybody's going to be getting our newsletter tomorrow, which is basically just talking about our September projects, but I'm going to quickly just read through them. Organized shoe drive. We have a lot of shoes being dropped off at the Wellness Center every other week. A group of volunteers are bagging them up, organizing them. We partner with the Plano High School, so you have an opportunity of serving alongside of high schoolers in Plano. This is a project we did last year. Then on the 16th, so we actually are going to go a couple of weeks without doing something. That's a shocker. Wow. Then we're going to be at Bowman. And then on the 18th, at Organized Shoe again. And then on the 21st, we'll be working the food pantry at Armstrong Middle School. Then on the 25th, Glenn will be every other month. We clean up Avenue K. It's through Plano's Adopt a Highway program. We've been doing it, I think, 4 or 5 years now. We like to get 10. If we get 10 people, we could get it done quickly. So sign up for that. It's a way of, it's amazing. I've said this before. You pick up trash on a Saturday morning. If you drive by Sunday, you see trash in the exact same place that you picked it up. It's really frustrating. So we could honestly probably do it monthly and still not keep it clean, but we do it every other month. So please sign up for that. And it's in the morning. I think it's like, isn't it 8, Glenn? I think it's 8.
It's 8 o'clock when it's hot.
So it's cool. We're like in the 80s. That's cool for Texas. And then of course we have on the 25th, this is the first time we're partnering with North Texas Pride Festival. We're going to have about 20 volunteers doing different things. Tara Bidwell is the team leader for that. So I encourage people to sign up. This is an exciting thing for us to do because we haven't partnered with them before. And then we have our meal drive-through at Rallison. And then we have our shoe drive, this shoe drive is going through October. So if you have shoes, drop them off at the Wellness Center, use shoes. If you want to pay for new, go for it. But what happens with these shoes, we partner with an organization. They send them to underdeveloped countries. Last year it was Haiti. I would probably going to be Haiti again because they're in a lot of need. And it supports micro entrepreneurs in these third world countries, and they start businesses. So they basically resell the shoes that we're donating. And you'd be amazed, the shoes that we get rid of, somebody in a less fortunate country, they can use them for a couple years. And so donate your old shoes, men, women, children, all shoes. I think, Steve, is that your shoe up there? You're going to donate that, Steve? And so spring clean your closets. See, we got a comedian for Sergeant of Arms here. So drop them off at the Wellness Center, which is at the Sam Johnson Recreation Center. Monday through Friday, drop them off, and you'll be helping those in third world countries having shoes and starting their own businesses. And so that is it. So that's our club business. So now what I'm going to do is turn it over to our guest introducer, who is our newly elected City Councilwoman, Julie Holmer. She is going to introduce our guest speaker today. So take it away, Julie.
Thank you so much. It is my honor to introduce our guest speaker. Van Taylor is a family man, a businessman, and a decorated Iraq War veteran. Van attended Harvard College, from which he obtained a Bachelor of Arts in History. Van Taylor joined the Marine Corps Reserves to continue serving his country while earning his MBA at Harvard Business School. Van and his wife, Ann, married after his return from Iraq and are the proud parents of 3 young girls, Laura, Helen, and Susie, whom they have raised in Plano. On January 3rd, 2019, Van Taylor was sworn in as a member of the United States Congress, representing Texas' 3rd Congressional District.
Thank you, Julie.
My pleasure.
Can y'all see me up there? There we go. Okay, great. Great. Thank you so much. Well, it's great to be back. I like to come to Rotary, try to make it to all the Rotary clubs, believe it or not, once a year. So it's good to be back with all y'all. And what incredible leadership and progress, Alex. I mean, I'm just so impressed with your service, with your growing membership. I mean, you see the evidence of good leadership right here. And so you guys have a lot to be proud of. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. For those of y'all that don't know me, I'm a 7th generation Texan. I was actually born far, far away in Dallas. And my family came to Texas in 1826. We were actually, believe it or not, we were running for the law in Tennessee. We came here when Texas was still, I'm not kidding, we were really running for the law. And the fugitive actually became the alcalde, or the mayor of Liberty, Texas. He was a Mexican government official. He figured he'd be less likely to be extradited if he was working for the Mexicans at the time. And the letter that Stephen F. Austin actually sent to him saying the time to revolt is now, in October of 1835, which was the beginning of the Texas Revolution, actually is on the wall in my office in Washington, D.C. So if y'all come visit me in Washington, be happy to show you that letter with Stephen F. Austin's stirring words to my family. And actually, my direct ancestor actually served in the Texas Army and actually fought at San Jacinto. And so while his brother was actually at Washington on the Brazos, signed a Declaration of Independence for the state of Texas, for the Republic of Texas in March 2nd, 1836. So I took a commission in the Marine Corps after college, was a reconnaissance commander, intelligence officer, joined the Marine Corps Reserves. I keep serving my country while I got my MBA from the Harvard Business School. My Marine Reserve unit was actually located in Washington, D.C. So I'd actually fly down once a month to do my drills. And after I finished business school, came to my last drill, and I was supposed to check out on a Saturday, Sunday, which is the normal drill dates. But it turned out that there was a wedding. Some friend of mine was getting married, so I said, "Hey, can I go to the wedding?" And the unit said, "Sure, show up on Monday, Captain Taylor. We'll check you out on Monday, Tuesday, get you out of here on your way back to Texas." And showed up on Monday, did all my checkout. Tuesday morning, all I had to do was hand in my canteens. I said, "Hey, you know what? I've never been in the Pentagon. I've always wanted to go. I'll go over there and grab lunch." But I never got there because that day was Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Oh, yeah. Watched the Pentagon burn with my own eyes. I made an oath to myself to continue to serve my country and to make a difference. I actually drove back to Texas, got here Wednesday night, and on Friday, I was actually at 4th Recon Battalion in San Antonio, Texas, another Marine Reserve unit. And we were actually activated in January of 2003, steamed over to the Persian Gulf, and debarked and trained. And actually, my platoon ended up being the first platoon into Iraq for my brigade on D-Day, March 21st, 2003. They put the reservists out front because they know we'll do a good job. Okay, good. Somebody got that. Somebody understood that one. But no, we accomplished every mission, brought every man home to their families, and I came home to the arms of the woman who sent me a letter every day I was there. Anne wrote great letters, and they're safely locked in a chest that I'm not allowed to read. because they were written under duress. And but Ann and I are raising 3 little girls who are unbelievably 8th generation Texans. And I want to give those children and all the children of Texas an America that's just as free and just as strong as the one that we inherited. And I've had the privilege of serving in public life for almost 10 years now. I was elected as Texas House in 2010, Texas Senate in 2014, and now in my 2nd term in the United States House of Representatives. I'd be happy to talk to you all about anything that's on your minds and answer your questions. I'll just kind of say a couple things. I get a lot of questions right now about Afghanistan. Obviously, I'm really flabbergasted at how poorly that has gone for the United States. We have the greatest military in the world. It's undefeatable, certainly in that context. And we had Afghanistan in a stabilized situation. A series of very poor choices, I think, led to a really catastrophic end there. And unfortunately, I think the worst days are ahead. My team is actually working on it. If you can believe this, 400 people with ties to our district, to the 3rd District of Texas, who are trying to get out of Afghanistan, family members trying to get out of Afghanistan. So people that live here in Collin County, 400 of them, we're trying to help them. And just those are 400 cases. The actual number of people we're helping is well over 1,000, because most of these people probably will have 1 case, and we'll literally have an average of 8 people per case. So we're trying to help a lot of people get out of Afghanistan. Just for your awareness, I'm the Republican head of a group called For Country, which is 25 veterans in the U.S. House, all services all over the country, half Republican, half Democrat. And we took point on trying to build and accelerate the special immigrant visa, or the SIV program, to get interpreters, to get our allies out of Afghanistan. And we've been really frustrated by the lack of planning to make sure there was an adequate SIV program to get our allies out. And so we're now dealing with the aftermath of that, of people who are literally running for their lives, but the borders all around Afghanistan are closed. So it's really not clear how they're going to get out, but they know that they're running for their lives. So bracing for the worst on that. And the other piece of Afghanistan that we have yet to see for some time, I think, is the terrorist training camps. I mean, the reason we went to Afghanistan in the first place is all the 9/11 terrorists were trained in Afghanistan. They went to terrorist training camps run by Al Qaeda that was sanctioned by the Taliban. Al Qaeda is now actually part of the command structure of the Taliban. So they're actually even more embedded in the Taliban than they were 20 years ago. So I'm very concerned about what kind of, and Al Qaeda is calling for terrorist attacks on the United States. So how we don't see further terror actions come out of Afghanistan, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm hopeful, but I think that we need to brace ourselves for that. The other piece of Afghanistan I'm very concerned about is the blow to NATO. In October of 2001, the United States invoked Article 5 of the NATO alliance, saying an attack on one is an attack on all. And our allies stood up and served with us side by side for 20 years, right? So Brits, Norwegians, French, Germans, all Poles, all these troops for 20 years were standing beside with us. They were fighting with us. They were deploying with us. They were dying with us. They were there. And it's been really shocking to hear a lot of the frustration and anger of our European, our NATO partners, who said things like, I didn't find out about this until I saw it on TV, and nobody bothered to call me for days afterwards, even though I'm the Prime Minister, Minister of Defense, et cetera. And I think that's a really, really bad blow to an extremely important partnership. NATO has been very important for world peace for a long time, and it's helped the United States. And so I'm very concerned about that. Shifting over, I know COVID is a concern. We have, the Delta variant is much more infectious. For those, I mean, everybody knows this, it's much more infectious than the previous variants. It is infecting younger people because those are where we have less vaccinations. I was meeting with the CEO of Baylor, Scott and White, a few weeks back. He said, look, 99% of the people presenting at my hospitals are unvaccinated. We are incredibly lucky to have a vaccine. This is probably the first time in the middle of a pandemic in the history of the world there's a vaccine that you could take. By all accounts, it's safe and effective. I've talked to a lot of different medical experts, and I think you've got a lot of guidance. There are some people that, for medical reasons shouldn't be vaccinated, but there's an opportunity to get vaccinated if you don't want to end up in the hospital and that's probably your single best bet is to get the vaccine. So I encourage people to take the vaccine. I've been vaccinated, and I've been pretty vocal in public about that. And then finally, restart. The restart that we're all going through has been challenging, and I think that it is going to be several years until we get back to normal. I talked to an auto dealer yesterday who said, I literally have no inventory. Normally, auto dealers have 75 days inventory. We didn't make cars for 60 days. This particular auto dealer, and this guy owns 24 dealerships across DFW. He said, look, I'm selling pictures right now. If you go up 75 here on your way to McKinney, there's actually a billboard where an auto dealer is trying to buy your car, right? I mean, so that's a pretty incredible statement of where the market is. We just didn't make cars for 60 days, and so we're really out of inventory. Same thing in the housing market here in Collin County. Normally we've got about 3 months of inventory. We're down to 3 weeks of inventory. When you talk to the realtors, it's a great market if you've got a house to sell. It's a hard market if you're trying to buy a house. In the auto dealers, going back to those guys, the manufacturers have said, "Hey, good news. We'll get you back to 75 days of inventory. If you can believe this, we'll get you back there by Christmas of next year." So it's 18 months, if we're lucky, from today that we'll be back to normal on auto inventory. On housing inventory, I would guess 2 years. At the same time, you've got inflation coming. The federal government spent too much money last year. Unfortunately, there's an idea in Congress to step on the gas and spend more. Just to kind of give you some numbers, $2.5 trillion got spent last spring. Another $1 trillion got spent in December. $2 trillion in February. And right now, there's an effort to spend another $5 trillion by the end of the year. And yes, that's more than all the spending that's been done so far already. And that will absolutely create a ton of inflation for 3 to 6 years. I mean, and so in addition to the restart problems, it's going to create a lot of, I think, economic difficulty for people in our country, particularly low-income workers and people on fixed incomes. So there's a lot to talk about. I do want to actually just on your table, got a little flyer here for everybody. I don't know if we can email this to people, but I just wanted to point out a couple kind of civic things. I'm starting my Congressional Youth Advisory Council, which is where I take high school students and take 45 of them and put them through a little classes on Saturdays once a month where they learn about civics. So they'll have a meeting with me, meeting with a mayor, meeting with school board members, with judges. It's a great way to learn about U.S. civics and local how things work politically. I'm working on my Congressional Veteran Commendation is another program we're doing. The applications were due for that by August 9th, but if you got a veteran that you think should be recognized, there's always next year. We run it every year. We also have the Congressional App Challenge, and those apps are not due until November 1st. I think we're up to almost 20 apps. So I got a lot of smart kids running around writing the apps, which is pretty cool. And if you know someone's interested in the United States Service Academy, we're working on that. I think I've got a thing in September on a Saturday. September 25th, I'll be doing a thing recommending. Actually, one of the few congressional offices that has the level of support we have for Service Academy in terms of extra programs to try to help more kids get in. We have a phenomenal record. A normal member of Congress will have 20 members, 20 people from their district in the Service Academies at any given time. We actually typically get 25 to 30 people into the Service Academies every year. So we are off the charts. That's not me. That's the kids. Parents raise some great children around here. So something you guys should be proud of. So at this point, I'm happy to answer questions either by Zoom or from the crowd. Yeah.
I'd like to compliment you on your Wuhan initiative. I ran an international corporation in textiles and apparel for years. Spent a lot of time in Wuhan. And I can vouch for you that there's definitely a medical what I call a lack of medical awareness in Wuhan, believe me. And I also spent a lot of time in northern Italy, which indicated what the Wuhan problem was. Wuhan textile apparel companies bought a lot of northern Italy apparel textile companies. And one of the first massive breakouts in COVID came in northern Italy as a result of the Wuhan problem. So my compliments to you.
Thanks. And thank you. Appreciate that. We should talk more about that. That's interesting life experience right there. Other questions I can answer for y'all.
Congressman Taylor, this is John Stafford on Zoom.
John.
Hey,
See you.
so we've got coming up at the end of this month, the Supreme Court has said that the eviction moratorium is going to end. And there's somewhere in the neighborhood of $46 billion that has not been spent out of that. What are you doing to make sure that people are not evicted and that that money that has been appropriated already is going to make sure that we don't have a homeless family crisis here in North Texas?
John, thanks. I'm really glad you brought that up. So there was an eviction moratorium that was, I believe, in the American Rescue Plan that passed in February. It also included about $47 billion to actually pay rent, because the theory was if we're going to put an eviction moratorium on, we shouldn't have landlords going out of business because they don't get rent. That money was distributed down through local governments. Starting in April, I serve on the Financial Services Committee, which actually has oversight over this program. So I'm glad you talked about this because it's big to me. It's more obscure to some people. Republicans have been very upset at the lack of distribution of the money, and we're concerned that the way that the money was structured, if the government doesn't hand it out in the requisite amount of time, they then get to spend it on whatever else they want. So unfortunately, the way the law was written, it actually incentivized governments to not hand it out as rental assistance, but actually to hold on to it, and then they could spend it on something else. Obviously, that's not the intent of Congress. I don't think that was the intent when the law passed. And so we continue, we Republicans on the Financial Services Committee continue to call for this. I've been really disappointed that we haven't had a single hearing about this subject. I know it's important, and we're finally getting a hearing. I think it got set this morning, I think for sometime in September 10th is the date, because of my mind, but I could be wrong on that. And so, but obviously it's really disappointing that these local governments are letting renters down. And let me just point out that Collin County is really a uniquely well-run county on this point. If you look at the CARES dollars that I voted for last spring, I think it was about 170 million that came to Collin County, of which probably about 80% actually went outside of government. So governments used it to pay for PPE for the jails or pay for filtration systems, things like that, overtime, contact tracing, things of that nature. But the vast majority of the money here in Collin County actually went to citizens. It went to businesses. It went to rental assistance. I remember meeting last summer with the Allen Area Food Pantry, which is a 501c3. They got $10 million to pay for rental assistance, to help feed families. And I pointed out to them that they're the only 501c3 that I know of in this country that got any dollars from the CARES package. Most governments around the country did not have the wherewithal to actually go help people, which is really sort of generally depressing that they're that badly run. We actually have a very well-run county. They had money in the bank. They had low tax rates, so they didn't watch their revenue really dip. And they're actually able to then hand that money out to local citizens, again, for rental assistance, for food, to help businesses in their restart efforts. And so we're very blessed to live in a county that is so well-run. And then we have cities that are well-run, right? So the cities have money in the bank, so they could then hand it out. So I think that has helped our community really recover. We have actually one of the lowest unemployment rates in the state here in Collin County. That's a direct reflection. Again, you make some good decisions. And I've had members of Congress from around the country call me and say, how is it that your county is doing such a good job with their CARES dollars? How are they handing it out? What are they doing? I said, well, it wasn't the decision that was made, in 2020. It was the decision that was made for 20 years to put money in the bank and to run an efficient, well-run, city government, county government, school, well-run school district that you then in turn can do that. So appreciate you asking that question, John. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Hey, Congressman Taylor, I wanted to thank you for your telephonic events that you put on where you're live calling out and getting feedback. Over the last couple of years have been just truly informative.
Good.
And really great, especially with the coronavirus and all. The question or the statement that I have just in regards to the statement that you released on Afghanistan as an Afghanistan veteran and combat veteran of 3 tours, I feel as if a lot of times with the statements that I see coming from, you know, the Republican Party, it seems as if we are really putting a lot of blame on our current administration and the president, and we're not bringing up the events that transpired prior to that have contributed and directly contributed to the events that have transpired. And more specifically, I want to speak to is the Doha Agreement of 2018, which we entered in
You mean 2020, right? February 2020, that agreement? No, you're talking about a different one.
The Doha, the negotiations that began in 2018, in which we released the second leader of the Taliban, presumably the next president. In addition to the Trump administration released 5,000, Taliban/ISIS prisoners, which filled the ranks. In addition to the administration negotiated with a foreign terrorist, organization that knowingly has killed U.S. service members, my brothers that stood next to me. And so my question to you is, I understand in your statements, and I've read them all multiple times, and I hear you. I understand when it comes to executing a plan that has never been executed in the history of the military, in addition to when you have a contingency plan that is so low on the totem pole when it comes to probabilities. What I mean is the collapse of Kabul within less than 30 days. I feel as if when it comes to statements, there needs to be transparency in those. And the negotiations that led to Doha discredited the Afghan government. It discredited the Afghan security forces. It emboldened the Taliban. The Taliban for multiple years and going back decades have controlled regions of Afghanistan to include key districts within Kandahar province, i.e. Shawali Kot, Marwan, just to name a couple. And so my question to you is do we just put out these statements in order to play politics, or is it to actually be transparent and to state that here's the reason that we are where we are? And you, as being a former platoon leader, you understand that when you come into, especially a military operation or something, you don't make an impact on day one. Your leadership and your guidance takes probably at a platoon level at least 90 days to have some type of impact on your senior NCOs. And so my question to you is, and with your statements, how do we place so much blame on the current administration's, not only the execution, but also just the overall planning and everything that went into it when the administration was in place for 7 months, in addition to the troops after President Trump lost the election were reduced by 40% from 4,500 to 2,500, which we both know is not sufficient enough of a force to withdraw. And so my question to you is like, how can we, how is the statements in regards to like transparency and honesty, or is it partisan politics to take the commander in chief and to throw him out there and to make him responsible for the 13 deaths of American soldiers?
Yeah, you served in the Army?
Yes, sir.
What'd you do?
I'm a cavalry scout, retired staff sergeant.
Good for you, Staff Sergeant. That's great. Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for your long deployments in harm's way. A couple comments. The deal that President Trump signed in February, actually was a conditions-based withdrawal. So if you read it, it's in black and white. It's in English. The Taliban was supposed, in order for the United States to withdraw, the Taliban was supposed to stop taking capitals, reject Al Qaeda, and cut a deal with the Ghani government in Kabul, right? And so those are three conditions that obviously the Taliban did not meet. And President Biden announced unilaterally in April, to the surprise of most of our allies, that he was leaving, right? I think it's a disservice for him to say I was honoring President Trump's agreement. He was not honoring it. In my mind, he actually broke it, because the threat to the Taliban is, if you don't do these things, we're not going to leave. If you do these things, then we will leave, right? So it was if you do these things, that's what's said in black and white. That's the agreement. You can go back and read it. There's a fact check on it that actually goes down day by day on this. And And just so that, so as a member of the Four Country Caucus, I was working with Republicans and Democrats trying to get the SIVs in place. We were frustrated collectively, and particularly Jason Crow, Democrat from Colorado. He was, he expressed to me several times, I can't believe how little planning the administration did for SIVs. I can't believe they weren't ready for this. Just in the same way they weren't ready to tell our allies what we were about to do. I mean, they kind of basically sprung it on them. And I think that one other key point. Oh, and then understand that Republicans and Democrats, last week in the U.S. House were expressing dismay that we weren't staying until we get everybody out. That is a bipartisan, unilateral. I think something like 86% of Americans want to stay until we get everybody out. So that's not a partisan thing. President Biden has made a series of choices that are his decisions and his alone. That again, went against the agreement. I mean, the agreement was set. It's written in black. That's the president's call. He gets to decide, hey, I'm not going to honor that agreement, but I think he made a mistake in going off script and doing what he did. I think the consequences on the ground are pretty catastrophic. So we should talk more about this. I will say, for anybody that wants to, I have a 100% meeting policy. So I've sat down and met with every single constituent that's ever asked to have a meeting with me, as long as I've been elected office. And I have some people that meet with me like every quarter. So not encouraging that, but yeah. So I'm happy to sit down and talk with you. I think it's really important for me to hear from you. And I think I love being here with you guys. I'll just say that, you have a First Amendment right to petition your government, right? A lot of people don't know that. That's like the least known right in the Bill of Rights. And I encourage you to take advantage of it. And I try to take advantage of it because it makes me do a better job for you when I hear your interests. And so that's why I'm so aggressive going out in the community, hearing from you. I'm glad you enjoyed the telephone town halls. We'll keep trying to do those. I think I've got the hook, right? Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yes. We don't have any more time for questions.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll be around. Thank y'all. It's really fun to be with you.
Wait, Mr. Taylor, don't leave yet. I'm talking to you. Come back up. I do want to thank you, our Rotary Club. A lot of people don't realize that you have actually been paying attention to what we do as a Rotary Club for the last year and a half. I'm putting on the screen where you provided us a certificate of congressional recognition in August 4th, 2020 for the efforts we did. Specifically, we were doing active feeding events during COVID. And then you also presented us another certificate. This is all on our website, everybody, on February 26th for what we did during the Texas winter storm. So I want to say thank you for paying attention to us, because all we do is serve. That is what our club is about, and we ask for nothing else but the ability to serve our community. And I don't know if our members realize that you have recognized our service. And so I really appreciate you doing that and coming to speak to us. And one thing that we do for our speakers, that's one of the reasons I didn't want you to leave, is also on the screen what we do in appreciation for your time and program. Our club, Plano West Rotary, we're going to donate $10 in your name to Rotary's Polio Plus Fund. That's part of our Rotary Foundation, together with the 2-to-1 matching grant funds from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that your $10 will turn into $30. And that's going to provide a polio vaccine for about 50 children. For those that don't know, ending polio is Rotary's global service project. About half of our annual expenditures from the Rotary Foundation is seeking the eradication. And there's 2 countries left, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And we've gone almost a year of no polio cases in either country. I think we have to go 3 years of no polio cases in order for it to be determined eradicated. So, Mr. Taylor, we're doing this donation in your name. So you're going to get information from the Rotary Foundation recognizing your contribution. And then also we have a lot of guests on. Rotary is using its polio infrastructure to aid in the vaccination effort for COVID-19, specifically in third world countries. I think we mentioned before, we may be at between 50 to 60% vaccination. In third world countries, they're at 4%. And so they don't have just the same process that's used, cold storage for polio is the same for COVID. And so Rotary is using its infrastructure throughout the world to help fight the COVID vaccination or help fight the COVID pandemic globally. So your donation, Congressman Taylor, will support that effort as well. So I want to say thank you for meeting with us. We appreciate it. It's been a couple years, actually, before the pandemic. And so you could go sit down. I know I dragged you back on stage.
Thank you for this. I appreciate you guys.
And thank you. Now to close out our meeting, before I will let everybody know, next week, we're going to have the State of the City of Plano from Mayor John Munns. Everybody should know he and his family has been volunteering for our Rotary Club for the past few years. So we knew him before he was mayor. And you guys may not know, he and Joa, his wife, they still volunteer with us at least monthly. And so, you know, he's a perfect example of a community servant, and he's going to be speaking to us. So it'll be interesting to see him outside of a mask and not delivering food with us. So last, I'm going to ask Glenn Thornton, our local in-person guru. He is going to lead us in the four-way test. Take it away, Glenn.
Okay, help me with the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Rotary. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day and a great week, and see you next week or at a service project. That's really where I want to see you, at a service project. Bye.
Bye.